Hey, 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 thank you for tuning in to a special episode of the Interracial Perspective Maturity Not Included podcast, a place where we discuss a wide range of topics from any to everything, but most importantly, a place to be yourself. I'm LC, and joining me, as always, is my lovely co host, Aaron. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, LC. Welcome back, everybody.
So you mentioned that you're going back to school. Are your children supportive?
Oh,
What are your children's thoughts on that?
when I told them, I actually did everything in my. I told them that I was going back to start class on Monday. They looked at me like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah," because sometimes I like to prank them, right? I like to prank them sometimes. I'm like dead serious. I'm like, okay, so they're still thinking as a prank until they actually see me getting ready um and and like don't bother me, don't ask me for anything. It's class time. That is it, right? But they always always supportive of anything that I decide to do.
That's
Always
good.
very
That's nice.
supportive.
So we're going to switch gears and kind of talk about something more heavy. So have you ever experienced racism or discrimination? And that's if you would like to share or if you ever have.
I sure have. I sure have. As I usually tell people, my experience with discrimination and racism is it to me it wasn't as bad as some people experience because we all know in today's world what's going on, and my level of experience, it's not even half of what some people experience. So I just want to clarify that I'm not maximizing my experience because there's people out there who experience 100 times worse. But I have, and I experienced discrimination at a quite young age. At the age about, I don't know, between maybe 10 and 12 years old, I started to develop vitiligo, which is a loss of pigmentation. I've always been just a little backtrack a minute. My dad was a mulatto. So his skin was a little bit darker than my mother's. My mother is a white lady. She's white as a ghost, as she usually calls herself. And so my skin tone is a little bit different than most people. Even today, people will look at me a little bit weird because my darker skin around my cheekbones and my temples, it still has my darker skin, and then the rest is white. So I call myself sometimes as a two-tone. You have to kind of figure out a way to deal with the way people look at you and the little whispers. Uh, but as I was growing up and I started to develop the vitiligo, at first was just around my eyelids, which was easy to cover with a little bit of makeup. So it wasn't too bad. But as the time progressed, it started to spread. And of course, I'm still in school, and we all know kids can be cruel.
Yes.
So they wouldn't want to be around me because they didn't know what it was. So I was called cheetah. I was called spotted eel.
Oh
I
my
was called
goodness.
a leopard. Just those were kids. Yes, was hurtful. I always tried to kind of laugh it off, but it hurt as a child. It hurt because you couldn't understand why they didn't want to be around you. You knew it wasn't contagious, but those are children. Don't understand something. Um, it turns out to be hard. Luckily for me, I had a best friend, and we're up to today. We're still the best of friends as friends can be. We actually adopted each other as sisters.
Oh,
She has no
wow.
sisters. I have no sisters. So we grew up together. We actually lived 2 houses from each other. Up to this day, my kids still call her auntie. Her kids call me auntie. Never know the difference that we're not even blood related. But then again, family doesn't always have to be blood related. Family is who you want in your life, who's always there through thick and thin for you,
Exactly.
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
So luckily I had her, and there was always someone I could lean on. So she would kind of don't come near my sister type of thing, right? She was always having my back.
Hmm.
And she still does that up to today. We've been friends now for, oh God, I'm gonna say my age, but we've been together for 45 years.
Oh,
Oh wow,
nice.
that's
That's
nice.
friendship. That's friendship.
Yeah, she's a year older than me, and we met. We were kids. We were probably 3, 4 years old. So, and somewhere around 45 years of friendship.
I always like to hear that too because I feel like a lot of people don't know that friendship can last for a very long time. But with the right people and the right bond, it surely can.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Those those are certain people that they make such a huge impact in your life. And even though she lives back home and I'm in Canada, there's not a day that goes by that we don't talk. Whether it's a text message or, a little greeting on Facebook, send a card or whatever the case may be. There's not a day that goes by. We always have each other's backs regardless.
And did that, because it seems like it was at a young age, did it shape your mentality towards people as you grew older, or that was just something that you were able to just adjust to?
I adjusted to when it came to the kids, and then the adults staring at you started. You're passing on the street and they'll kind of look at you and they will, veer off to the other side of the street. This has happened here as well with me as being an adult. People just stare you down and start, snickering in the whispers. And it took me a long time to be able to look at myself in the mirror,
Oh no.
because I couldn't understand why I was being treated that way. For a period of time, I wouldn't want to come out of my house, and then one day I said, put your big girl panties on. This is not the end of the world for you. You're a fighter. You can deal with this. You've dealt with numerous things that not a lot of people have dealt with. You are a miracle baby. So get up, look at yourself in the mirror. You're beautiful the way you are, and the heck with everybody else.
Yes,
That's
exactly. People are weird.
Exactly. It made you feel like you're a leper. Like, why? Like, are you treating people because they look different? Just because I look different than you doesn't make you any better than I am. I'm a human above all. I'm I bleed just the same as everybody else. I'm smart like everybody else. So what if I look a little bit different?
I agree. I think that's where a lot of people lack just at least trying to inform themselves or being just okay. Because I always struggle with the concept that like, Elsie and I both just don't care. Like really, unless it impacts us, we really don't care what other people do or how they behave and stuff. But it is weird how people are quick to judge. Which brings me to a question for you as well, which I think kind of there's a lot of people that judge it in life, maybe not so much these days in this day and age, but what's your thoughts on interracial relationships?
Well, my thoughts are I was in an interracial marriage for 22 years. And of course, my children are the most beautiful children in the world. I know I'm a little bit biased. They're my kids, of course. One mother wouldn't say that their children are the most beautiful in the world. Um, but yes, their father and I were married for 22 years. He was actually from Trinidad, Indian descent, not Afro descent, but nonetheless, he was dark. Um, you know, I actually thought my parents would have an issue with us dating, but well, I should say my daddy had a little bit of an issue because not because he was uh, the color he was or his background, but just being that I was his little girl, his the
Right.
only daughter he had, right? So, as any father, he would always be like, I don't think you're right for my child. Because I know as a mother, I would probably say certain things like that because, like I said, I'm very outspoken. So sometimes my brain to mouth filter malfunctions, and then it's like, oops, I shouldn't have said that. But but he was well received. Really, my parents couldn't really oppose much to it, being that my dad was mulatto, my mom was white. Um, but again, that brings me back again to the discrimination period. because growing up and my parents being who they were, I really didn't experience that with the racism type of part of the discrimination side. But when I started dating my ex-husband, then yes, people will look at us weird, like, why are you guys together? You know, you shouldn't be together, you shouldn't mix. But you know something? I'm a true believer that this universe always has something that is meant to be yours. Yes, I understand some people say, oh, you know, races shouldn't mix. And, you know, if you don't associate with them, then you can fall in love with them. To me, I find that's baloney. You're just kind of trying to live in a certain way. Now, that's their opinion, and I'm not going to knock that down. Everyone has a right to feel the way they feel.
Right.
But I'm sorry, to me, you can't help who you fall in love with.
Yes.
If it's two races mixing and you make each other happy, you have understanding, you have communication, then you know what? Do what's best for you. And don't worry about what anyone else is going to say. I've experienced that in my life. In the beginning was a little bit hard to deal with it because I'm like my mentality is so different than others. I see things a little bit different. Someone actually told me one time to take off my rose colored glasses and see things the way they are. I'm going like, I am seeing things the way they are. I just don't see things the way you guys see. I see human being. I see people. By all means, do it what makes you happy.
I actually agree with that. I say this to Elsie all the time, and I think that's the part that frustrates me. I think a lot of people want you to look through their glasses when our glasses are just fine the way they are. Yes, there's a lot of things out there that kind of impact, or they're out there, and you watch the news, you can see how, racism is still out there, things like that are still happening. But me, myself, I don't see any of that. Well, like when I engage with people, I just see the person for who they are. And when I say they, that if I don't like you, it's because of who you are as a person, not anything else. And I feel like a lot of people just can't do that in this day and age.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, Erin, because that's the way I see things. I won't judge you by the way you look, and I won't judge you by the color of your skin. However, I will judge you by your character.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the way I was brought up, not to judge anyone based on how they look. I know how I was judged when you know, got the vertigo. How people are watching me. You're looking at me different because I look different. I don't look like you. So how can I in turn start judging others based on the color of their skin or the way they look? No,
Yeah.
if you present yourself to me as an awesome person with a good character and all of those things, then I will formulate if I like you or don't like you. But then again, a lot of people know when I don't like them. I may not verbalize it, but my face says it all. I can't. Those are things that I can't help. You know, even when I was in working, like people knew when I didn't like them, and I didn't have to say a single thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, how come you don't like so and so? I'll go like, I never verbalized that. One of my friends go like, girl, you ain't got to say nothing. Your face said it all. I'm like, oh my God. But that's just the way I am. I will just, if I don't like you, I don't like you. And it has, like you said, Erin, it has nothing to do with the way you look or your skin color.
Yeah. People just, yeah, people are something else.
You don't judge people for their opinions. You will let them have those opinions. There is a difference between being disrespectful and mean versus saying, well, this is how I view it, or this is how I feel or think, or whatever. And I love that you guys allow that to happen, because dialogue is supposed to, so that two people can talk. You might not always agree with people. You might not even care what other people have to say, but the only way that you can truly have a conversation is if everybody is allowed to talk. But people are so quick to say, well, you don't agree with me, or you don't think the way I do, so you're wrong. And I just love that you guys are very open about letting people have their own opinion. I find that to be a very rare thing in this society now.
Absolutely. I mean, that is the point of having uh, a blog or a vlog, and you're doing live shows, the point is to have people converse and discuss the topic and give their points of view. Now, if you're going to be blocking or deleting every little comment that you feel it didn't go with your point of view, then you're doing an awful job, in my opinion. When I'm moderating, I only look out for the extremely vulgar,
Mm-hmm.
rude, or threatening comments.
Yes.
Everyone is entitled to their opinion. And if I want someone to respect my opinion, I also have to respect the other person's opinion because we don't all have the same point of view. We don't all see things the same way. If we all did, then wouldn't be no point to have a conversation,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah.
I
I mean,
just let the
preach.
comments.
I don't. Yeah.
Like if I was to have a conversation with someone who had the exact same opinion that I do, it wouldn't be no conversation. We'll just sit there, sip a cup of coffee, and just look at each other. No need
Hmm.
to discuss anything.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
what.
what a lot of people don't get. And I know some people get very irritated when people don't see things their way. It's just a little lesson. Like, yes, I may agree with you on something. It
Right.
doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with you in every single thing you say. If you say something that I find that my opinion is different, I'm going to verbalize it. I'll say, you know what, that's an awesome point. That's a great point. However, this is the way I see it.
Exactly. Great advice. That's, yeah. Tune in next week as we continue our conversation with our sister, our friend Dukes. And with that said, thank you for tuning in to this special episode with our friend, our sister Dukes. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LC and Aaron. That way, you know when a new episode of the Interracial Perspective Maturity Not Included podcast becomes available. As always, stay safe, stay positive, and be true to yourself.